Okay, I'm Dr. Melnick, and you asked to see me about your dad.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
Mr. Levy.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, good.
Shlomo Levy.
Right, okay. Go ahead.
So we understand that he has this terminal situation, the bowel cancer. While we are very distressed over it, we don't want to relay that distress to him. Now, he is not fully aware that it's full-blown cancer. He understands that he has a disease in his bowel, and that's as far as we want it to go.
Right.
Well, in fairness, okay, I've spoken to him, and the oncologist in our group has spoken to him, and what we've told him is as much as he wants to know. And as much as he wants to know has been just that he's ill.
So we're in the I'm sorry.
He himself hasn't. We don't hit anybody over the head with their disease.
All right, fine. But so we're on the same page. How much did you tell him? Because we know he doesn't know he has full blown. But to what extent did you?
All right, this is a useful conversation because you're his family. When he came in, he was pretty far advanced already, and we told him that he had a bowel tumor that we saw. Mm-hmm. And the fact was that it was already spread. And the oncologist didn't think that in his health condition that chemo was an option. So we told him, and he was told, that he had a growth that we didn't think we could cure and didn't think would go away.
Do you know if he himself asked beyond that, did he say to you, is it cancer? Did he say, is it the disease? He uses that term.
He didn't. He understood, and we understood, that he understood that he had a growth that was not going to get better.
Okay, fine.
And we didn't use the word cancer.
Good.
Okay.
And he didn't ask us.
Good.
Right.
Okay.
But he's come to a position where he's going to get weaker and weaker, and we have to think about planning his care.
Okay, fine. But if that's inevitable, it's inevitable. But we don't need, from my perspective, to tell him anything beyond what he already knows.
It's going to make him feel worse. That's what we feel.
It's going to break him. He's going to be broken anyway. But we don't need to exacerbate it by him knowing that that this is what he's dealing with. There's too much family history for him to have to deal with that diagnosis point blank.
I won't hide anything from him. Now, if he comes to me on his next visit, I think, which is next week, and he wants to know more information, then I'm going to share it with him. I think it's my moral responsibility. And furthermore, as I see it, he's going to need hospice care at some point.
Okay, no, I get that and I respect that you're saying it's your moral responsibility, but there's an emotional and there's a human element here at play. Again, just to give you a little more information, his father had lung cancer, which I'm sure is in your records. There's a family history.
Yes, that's right.
His father had lung cancer, and he watched his father waste away. He was with him, and it affected him. It affected us.
Right.
We watched him watch his father, and we saw what it did to him. And he shouldn't have to relive that in that regard, meaning with this role reversal.
But then the doctor's saying he already knows. He knows.
Fine, but he doesn't have to hear it in words. Maybe even if he knows it subconsciously, he doesn't need to know it consciously, and that's the difference. He doesn't need that to go over that point of suspecting to knowing, because it's also with mom.
Well,
it's the
what
same
you're saying
thing.
Is that he's defending.
You want to see that happen again?
He's
But we don't know
in
how
defense.
much time does he have. I mean, if
Whatever
he's
time,
gonna die,
whatever time he has, it's not going to change anything.
But maybe he wants to know. Maybe he wants to do something before he's gone.
And we will be doing something. We'll be doing something that's making him comfortable. You'll tell us how we can make him comfortable, how we can, or if
Mrs.
My sister,
Myra.
I'm sorry, my sister Myra.
Yeah, Mrs. Schwartz is.
Yes.
Yeah. Look, you brought up a good point, and I think you should hear what your sister said. That people at the end of life have things to do.
Right.
And it may be that he wants to wrap things up. It may be that he hasn't looked after his will. It may be that he's got a bucket list, and to hide things from him intentionally is something I'm not prepared to do. Now, I agree with you that defense is a good mechanism for many people. At some
It's
point
not about
it breaks
you.
down.
It's not about you.
I didn't say it's about me, but at the same time, okay, everyone's affected. You're affected, I'm affected. And the fact is, okay, fine. Do you remember how he was like near suicidal after mom died?
This is not the situation.
It doesn't make a difference.
He was sad because she was gone and he was alone.
It took him at least a year to get past that. You know, at least have him some type of quality of life where he's not this shell of himself like he was last time.
Daniel, I think our time's short, and I'm not going to replay the kind of debates that people had 20 years ago, 30 years ago with you. I'm not going to do that. I'll let you know. The best I can do is let you know what I'm doing and coordinate. You're not going to determine for me how I'm going to treat your dad.
No, I'm not saying
okay.
I'm not going to tell him to treat him.
So when he comes in next week and we talk, if he asks me what exactly he's got or what his prognosis is, I'm not going to hide it from him. And I will call you after that, and I will encourage him, that is with his permission, I will call you after that. Only if he gives me permission. And I will suggest to him that he talk to you about it, if it comes up. If he continues to resist the idea and defend himself against the anxieties and fears of dying, I'm not going to interrupt with that. I know very well how to give him support in his condition, even without specifying. It could be our unstated pact, but his health plan doesn't cover home hospice care. So at some point he's going to have to, if he's going to get decent care, he's going to have to go in to a hospice associated with one of the hospitals. And it's going to be hard for him to be in a hospice without knowing that he's dying.
Well, just in one scenario, like, is it not an option to keep him home and we tend to him in some way?
Well, if you're prepared to devote yourself, it's hard to organize those.
Just want to know what the options are.
He'll need 24-hour care for a certain amount of time. He'll need nursing care. He'll need a lot of changes in the house. Normally, the health plans, unless they're the platinum grade, don't cover this. And there are good hospices associated with the hospital, and they help people relief with their pain relief, with their emotional issues. And I'm going to have to raise this issue with him gently because I don't want it to come to him as a surprise in a month or two that he's being sent to a hospice. I want him to begin to think about it. So I'm going to encourage you to talk together with him. And I'm a bit, I won't say I'm offended, but I find it difficult to have you interfering, in a sense, with my relations with your dad. I'm not gonna go on with that.
He's just trying to.
And I see your sister. I think you should listen to her. She's got a much more reasonable attitude here. And
I'm not dismissing what my sister says, but at the same time, with all due respect, while we appreciate everything you're doing for our father, and don't think we don't. We appreciate everything you're doing. At the same time, it's our father, and when and you can't separate, your relationship, with the fact that this is a family situation, and you know how it is. You've been doing this for years and years. You've seen the situation.
I think it's time to bite the bullet. Once again,
maybe we need some help. Maybe you know someone, like maybe a psychologist.
What I'm going to do is, that's a great idea.
Talk to us.
That's a great idea. We have a psychologist in the practice.
Okay.
I'm going to speak to your dad, and I'm going to let him decide. In other words, we're playing chess with each other here. But he's the one who's going to decide, and I'll talk with him, and I promise you, as I said, that I don't bang anybody over the head with a diagnosis I'm not prepared to accept. But if I see that he needs some help, I'll suggest that he talk to you, and I'll suggest that we have a framework for that discussion here. And that's the best I can do.
One thing that you mentioned, though, you said, like, if he asks, you will tell him.
Yes, definitely.
Okay, so that's the key word, though. So if he, of his own accord, asks you what his diagnosis is. Yeah. All right. Because I don't believe he's going to ask. I don't know that he wants to know, even though he might know it internally. I don't know if he was going to want to hear it. So
that's not fair for him. That's not fair.
No. Look. Hold on. Dad has a mind of his own. Dad knows he can ask if he wants. He said himself.
I'm
if Dad
going
asks
to
on
make
his own
it
accord.
clear, and I think
Okay.
with this I'm going to summarize because we don't have more time.
Okay.
And I hope it'll be okay with both of you. Myra, I'm also not going to force the knowledge on him, even if I agree that people might at the end of life like to put their things in order. I'm going to suggest to him that he might not have as much time with this tumor as he thinks, and that he might begin to think putting things in order.
I don't know that I can't tell him.
That's
That I won't tell
different.
him.
That's different than telling him he has terminal cancer. It's a way in which you say it. So I'm going to hint to him that his time on this earth might be limited without actually going beyond that. If he wants to pick it up and carry it, he'll carry it. So I think on that we sort of have an agreement. You may not be entirely happy, but I can't act differently.
Look, no one wins in this situation.
I
No
understand
one
your
wins.
feelings, but I can't act according to your concerns. So I guess after he leaves me, he'll talk with you or he won't.
Right.
Thanks for coming in.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, doctor.